In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front outside door handle on this Dodge Durango. Let's get into it. Pop this cover off. I'm just going to use a pick. Slide that off. We can access a screw right there. Using a 7mm socket, take this screw out. Pull that out. Behind the handle, take this trim piece out. Just use a pick. Just pop this out. It's just clipped in. Using a 10mm socket, take that screw out. Now with some trim tools, we're going to get underneath the door panel and pop some of the push pins out. Just go all around the perimeter of the door. There we go. Pops out. Take this cable out. You can use some pliers or even a pick. Just squeeze the tabs. And then you can slide the cable out. So those are the two tabs you want to push down. You have a connector over here. I'm going to disconnect that connector. Just push down on the tab, slide that off. I'm going to pop the master window switch out. You can push it up from underneath. This way you can access the connector a little easier. You can see that there's a little lock tab on here. Just use a pick, push on the connector, and slide it out. Now slide the door panel off. I'm going to remove the speaker, take these screws out, use a T25 socket. Pull the speaker out. You can use the trim tool, get underneath it. Might be stuck on there a little bit. Peel that off. I'll disconnect the connector, push down on the tab, slide that off. We're going to have to raise the window up so that we can disconnect it from the regulator. Hook up the switch again. And then turn the key on, just in the accessory position. We can raise this up. And you want to get it to where you can access this little piece right here. You can see the other one is going to go through there. So there's two little tabs that we're going to have to slide a pick or a screwdriver in. Those are right there and right there. Then you can turn the key off. You can disconnect the switch. I'm just going to take a pick. I'm going to go in there and just push. Just raise the window up a little bit with my hand. Do the same on this side. This would help if you have an assistant. Just push. Just try to raise the window up. You can just grab it from up top. There we go. That's off. Now the window, you can push it all the way up. And we're just going to use some tape. Make sure the window is clean. This is a little bit tricky to do yourself. Just get an assistant to do this. Put one more piece. Normally 3 pieces is enough. This window's a little heavy, so put another one. Should be good. We're going to disconnect these 2 wires right here. Just push on that tab. I'm just using a pick. disconnect this connector as well. And just get underneath there with a terminal, with a trim tool. Pop it out. Using a trim tool, just pop the wire retainers off. There. Just try to slide some of the wires out. We're just trying to give it a little more slack over here. Put this out. Disconnect these connectors. Push down on the tab, slide the connector out. Same with the motor. Just take this off. Little lock tab there. Push it, it slides out. This connector right here. Just pop this up. Just with the trim tool. Disconnect the connector. Push down and slide it off. Now we have a little more slack in here. Once we take this panel off, you're going to need to be able to disconnect the wire that goes to the latch over there. I'll take all these screws out, use a 10mm socket. Now using a T30 socket or driver, we're going to take and just turn this in that position. That unlocks it. We have one there. There's one down here. And there's one over here. That should be it. If you feel where this wire is underneath here, there may be a wire tie. You just want to cut that wire tie. You can put a new one in after. Just be careful, don't cut the wire. We need to take these 3 screws out. Just use a T30 socket or driver. Take those out, grab the panel, slide it up. We can see the 2 rods that go to the handle. You can just reach in there. We want to pop those off. Just like that. And pop the rod off. We'll do the same with the orange one. If you need a screwdriver, just use a straight blade screwdriver. Pop the orange one off. You can slide this out a little further. You can actually see where the connector is. Disconnect the connector, push down on the tab, slide that off, and then there's a retainer here. Just pop that retainer out. Just going to use a trim tool. slide out here. Now that's disconnected, this wire's disconnected. And the whole panel just comes right out. To replace the door handle, we are going to need to remove the window. So while you were disconnecting it from the regulator, if you wanted to pull the window out completely at that time, you could. What we're going to do is just take this trim piece off right here, the weather stripping. And while I'm holding it underneath, take the tape off. Just be careful, don't drop the window. Slide it down and tip it. Just carefully slide it out. Take these two push pins out. Just use a trim tool, get behind. And then underneath here, there's a little cover. I'm going to just take that access cover out, just pop it out from the other side. Take the two rods off, just slide this out. Pop the clip off. Slide the rod off. Do the same on the other one. Pop the clip off and slide the rod out. There's two screws right here. Use an 8mm socket. Take those off. Take those out. And this one right here. Same 8mm socket. And disconnect the connector, just push down on the tab and slide it off. And just grab the handle from the outside. You might have to pull just a little bit. The lock cylinder is going to come off right there. And this piece of the handle is going to slide right out. Just like that. You can take the lock cylinder, slide that in position, and slide this connector in first. And just twist it. Be careful, don't scratch the door. And you just want to pull this out a little bit. Slide that in. That's good. Just connect the connector. Put the screws back in. Just snug that down. Snug that down. And the other one. Snug that down. Now connect the rod. Slide it down. Lock it in place. And the other rod, line that up. And lock it down. Take this cover, slide it in place, and you can push the push pins back in. Make sure it lines up. That's good. At this point, I'm gonna put the window back in. If you want to, it might be a little bit easier if you put the window regulator back in first. We're going to put it back in right now. Line it up. put it in position. I'll just hold it up and tape it up the way we had it. And put this trim piece back, or weather strip, get that lined up. Now take the panel, slide this in position a little bit, get it close. We need the wiring harness as well. Just get this positioned inside there. Take the connector. You're going to line that connector up, connect that to the latch, and get the wires positioned where they need to go. It's going to go over that clip. Now the lock rods, I'm going to reach in, get the lock rod started. I'll get the smaller lock rod on first. It goes to the orange one. Lock that down, and the pink one, get that lined up. Whoops. And lock that down. Now take the panel and just slide it in position. Have to go up a little bit. Make sure the wires aren't getting squished. And you can lock those. I'll put the screws in for the latch. Tighten those down. Take these screws, put these all in. Get those all started. Tighten these down. Just snug. Grab this wire, make sure you connect it to this connector here, line that up, lock it down. That's going to end up going over here. And this wire is going to go over here. Go there. Now we can drop the window. Carefully pull the tape off. Make sure you hold the window so it doesn't fall. Bring it down slowly. Get it to line up with the bracket. That's lined up. Push it down, lock it in place. Double check, just try to push it up, make sure it's locked in there. It's good. Now close this door up, make sure the wires are out of the way. Lock that down. I'll take the wire harness, get everything lined up. It's going to go around these spots. Plug that in. Plug the window regulator in. Push down on the lock. We're going to plug these connectors in. They're all different, so you're not going to mess them up. This connector is going to go up here. Only goes on one way. Lock that in and then push that retainer in. This connector is going to connect to the door panel when we're putting that on, and this is for the window switch. This is going to the speaker. Let's put the speaker in. Line the connector up. And you want the wire to go through here. Just like that. Get the screws started. And we'll tighten these down. Just snug. Take the door panel and we'll connect this connector here. Line this connector up through the door panel. The rod or the cable, we're going to slide the cable in. It's going to go through where the handle is. Slide it over and lock that in place. Slide the lock rod through. Just line the door panel up. Once it's lined up, those are all lined up. Start pushing that on. Just going to check the bottom ones. There we go. Just going to make sure they all line up. That's good. Just give them a little tap, get them down. Take the switch plate, connect that, and then push down on the lock. Line that up and push it down. Take this bolt, get that lined up. Just snug that down. Take the cover, line that up, and lock it down. Take this screw, line that up, get it started. Snug that down. Take the cover and just push it down.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.